Hey guys, I'm gonna share this with you guys, and just kind of vet it through you guys. I'd like to hear if you guys have any insights into this dream. Um, there is some symbology in the dream that I think is kind of interesting, and but the dream has to do with our country, and God's been giving me kind of a series of dreams regarding like President Trump, and I've shared a couple of them on here, but these ones I haven't shared. But the cool thing is, God actually gave me a dream just a few nights ago of me sharing this on the Marco Polo group, and so I'm like, okay, Lord, I feel like it's time. You're kind of showing me the go ahead to share it, because like I literally was dreaming that I was sharing this with you guys, and so I'll go ahead and just kind of share it. Um, and so the dream that I had just a few nights ago, uh, I was I had a dream of sharing with you guys a previous dream that I had, but then even in this dream that I was sharing with you, I had more regarding President Trump and our country and God's how God feels about the whole situation. And so I will just share the dream I had a few nights ago first. Uh, on May 4th, I had this dream. I dreamed that I was sharing here on the Marco Polo group uh, a previous dream that I had of Donald Trump, him getting elected again, um, and how God is displeased with quite a few Christians' attitudes towards Trump and his administration. And it's almost like they take it for everything he tried to do for our country, they kind of just take it for granted, or they're too critical of him, or he could have done better. All that kind of stuff has displeased the Lord. Um, and the story that was coming to me in the dream that I said to you guys, I said, yeah, it's kind of like how Gideon in the book of Judges, how if you read Judges chapter 8, and actually read it in the New Living Translation, because it just translates a few verses that are really easy to read. But yeah, when he was running to go after the Midianites with his 300 warriors, he stopped by at a few towns to get refreshed. He said there's two towns. One was Succoth, the other was Peniel. And he said, hey, our troops are really weary, we're tired, we're hungry, can you feed us? And they responded by basically saying, hey, you haven't gotten any victory yet, why should we help you? Like, go get victory and then come back and then we'll feed you. So they didn't want to lift a finger. And so what Gideon actually tells them, he warns them, he says, fine, if you're going to be that way, when I do get victory, because he was confident he was going to get victory, he's like, when I do get victory, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to tear your flesh with thorns and briars from the wilderness. And so I'm sharing this to you guys in the Marco during the dream, and I say, likewise, God is upset with those in our country who have mocked Trump, who didn't appreciate what he was trying to accomplish when it comes to preserving our freedoms, overthrowing the corrupt elites, and just all the corruption in our government. And so that was the dream, basically. And I've been spending a little bit of time today kind of going through this a little bit. It's interesting, the briars and the thorns in the wilderness. He's like, I'll come back and I'll tear your flesh with those. Like, God's been giving me a lot of dreams and different things, and talking to me about the thorns and the weeds and the briars. That is that is talked about in the third soil of the parable, where Jesus talks about the four soils, and those represent just the pride of life, the cares of this world, kind of living more for the pleasures of what this world offers, rather than truly doing the Lord's will. And so I looked up these two towns, Succoth and Peniel, and they happen to be towns that were east of the Jordan. And so when they originally came into the promised land, there was 2.5 tribes that were looking around like, you know what, this land's good enough. Let's just settle here. We don't need to have God's best for us. Let's just settle here in this country and not, cross the Jordan. And so they kind of settled for less. And it's interesting how these two towns later on, it's like that generational iniquity of just being lukewarm, so to speak. It was affecting those towns later, where they're like, we're not going to help you, we're fine. You know, if you accomplish it and you get those kings, they were trying to get the two kings they were going after, the 300 men, was Zeba and Zalmunna. So they basically said, yeah, you know, go capture those guys, then we'll come feed you, or then come back here and we'll feed you. But anyways, so I think the symbology is like a lot of us in America who have kind of just, our hearts are more in the world, more like after just selfishness. We don't want to, so like, yeah, here's the question I want to throw at your guys' way is, what do you think it means to feed? There's got to be a symbolism in feeding the troops with food versus like nowadays, like how can we feed Trump's administration and everything they're trying to do? Like, does that mean pray for them maybe? Like keep them in our prayers, actually be laboring in prayer for them? Or like sowing into like supporting them, like help funding? I'm trying to figure out exactly how that might correlate. But anyway, so the other dream, well, there's two other dreams that tie to this dream that show how there's still stuff going on behind the scenes. The one that I had last month, which I think I might have mentioned it here, I did have a dream that I was at a patriotic rally and I was talking to Michael Flynn. And I was just like being very thankful to him, and I was just telling him straight up, I was like, hey man, I just want to let you know, like, I'm aware that you're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes and you guys are trying to fight hard to preserve our freedoms, and you're not getting that much recognition for it. But I just want to let you know, like, it really means a lot to me, and I'm very, very thankful of what you guys are doing. And even in the dream, I didn't know what all they were doing, but I just knew that they were doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And he kind of looked at me and he said thank you, and then like I hugged him, and he told me to go up front in this like rally. And he told me to go up front and like give a word or something like that. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I started walking up to the front, and I saw him walk across the back of the room, all the way across the audience to the other side, and I saw his brother with him. So he went to sit down with his brother, and so that was kind of an interesting dream. And right after having that dream, my sister-in-law happens to text me, and she's like, Nate, I'm up here in Salem at this like rally thing, and Michael Flynn is here, and it was just amazing, Nate. It went on for 2 days, and she's like, I just went up here by myself, but it was just amazing, all the people that are trying to preserve our freedoms. And so I thought that was kind of a cool confirmation of the dream, like, oh wow, like I thought I heard about that rally. I just remember hearing about it, but I forgot that it was actually going on up there. And so she did say that like Michael Flynn has had many death threats. He shared that at that rally, and he's fighting hard to, you know, and there's like a lot of stuff that they're still uncovering. But the original dream that I was referring to in this dream that I had just a few days ago, the original dream, I had it on, well, I shared that dream with you guys, like how Britney Spears was going to get her freedom back, you know, and then right after that, like I was talking to President Trump a little bit, and then even after that, there's like some kind of like military tribunals happening, and a lot of like stuff was just being dealt with right away. And I kind of trying to figure that dream out. I'm like, Lord, are you kind of saying that like, just as Britney Spears was like in bondage and all this stuff, and she's going to get her freedom back, is that like a parallel? Is that like a metaphor for maybe our country? Like we're just in a lot of bondage, we don't even realize it. But so that was, I think, in October. But then in November, I got this dream, which at the time I got this dream, I'm like, how the heck is this going to happen, Lord? But I had a dream that I was just watching the news, and all of a sudden the news was announcing that Donald Trump he won some election, and he won the presidency, and they were all shocked by it. And I was really shocked. I'm like, what? I'm like, how is it even possible, Lord? Like, with all the corruption in the vote count that they had last time, like, how would they? It seemed like to me that they had this thing down. Like, they're never going to allow a free election ever again. Like, how did this even happen? And I was so blown away by it, and I almost didn't believe it in the dream. And so to double check, like after watching the news, and even the people at the news were just super like blown away, like, what the heck, he won? Holy cow, you know? And so I got on Google in the dream, and I Googled like Trump, like President Trump, to see if even Google would acknowledge him as president. And Google did, yeah, they did acknowledge that he was the president, but it was something like uh, Google had some links next. Oh yeah, so Google did announce him as the president to be or whatever, but then there's a lot of links right next to it saying how he's crazy. So it's like they had all this like just stuff right next to President Trump, all these links like just showing how crazy he is and he's like illegitimate kind of. It's like they didn't want to truly acknowledge him as president. They're trying to bash him just like they did in the past. But I was just so blown away that he was actually president again. And I was just like so thankful in the dream, and I was just like was praising God. And I was just saying, thank you, Lord, thank you, thank you. And I was just like so amazed that this happened. And I was just like was blown away that God sovereignly somehow did this. And so yeah, I had that dream in November. And so, back then I'm like, Lord, I don't see how this is even possible. Like, but you can do it. And so the only thing that kind of comes to me recently though is with this whole thing with Twitter getting bought out by Elon Musk. Like, I personally haven't studied Elon Musk that much, but I've heard stuff that like he does come from a high Illuminati type family. And so I'm just kind of wondering if maybe even if Elon Musk is like sold out to the devil and trying to bring like technology that will eventually get us to the mark of the beast and all that stuff, I wonder if somehow God is still going to maybe use the fact that he's, sort of bringing some freedom of speech back. And it might be just enough in order to get enough word out that Trump could take advantage of it and then have an election, get the word out enough. Maybe enough people will be tired of Biden anyways. Maybe just enough liberals are waking up that they don't want Biden to continue to be president. These are just some thoughts that came to me recently. So, but yeah, I guess I'm sharing this because I did have the dream of me sharing it. And so God is watching us, and it seems like he's kind of testing our hearts with this whole thing. And if he does bring about, a deliverance from all this corruption, but a lot of us Christians were taking it for granted. It's like we didn't even really care much. It seems like from my dream that there will be some consequence, which I don't know how that's going to look. But anyway, just thought I would share it with you guys. All right, bless you.